Money, the bottom line. It's cash return.
How much you pay for this joint, Frank?
70,000.
You're one big sucker.
What, you're referring to my size?
No. I'm referring to, what you got to clean up here.
Oh, yeah.
And why do you stay then?
No place to go. I could go back to the States, but there's just as well stay here.
So you're sort of stuck here with this...
I'm not stuck, really.
Thing.
But it's not, it's not what you call prime real estate.
No. But do you have a kind of romantic thing about the ballrooms coming back or anything?
I hope so, but you never know.
You hope the old days come back? That's why you're...
No, the old days will never come back. But you live in hope and die in despair, I guess.
Right, so...
But I'm not ready to die yet.
I hope your balls come back.
I hope I didn't lose them.
I think you ruined my show. This is the last show in my series. I wanted an event, a celebration, so we come to Ireland. I wanted to capture the spirit of the place with all its boonie and hoo-ha. I wanted to see the Irish people dancing in all their mid-jiggery. I asked for two things, a ballroom and a leprechaun. Was that too much? This is the ballroom, so you can see where this show is skidding. Maybe there's something on BBC too. What are you looking at? Paul? Who is that?
That's your leprechaun.
And which toadstool did you crawl up from under?
Just up here, round here, on the golf links, actually.
Oh, that's charming. And what do you do for a living, then?
Well, fishing, shooting, poaching.
You steal fish?
I do, yeah. But no, this is too early in the year yet.
Right.
Summer fish is not in yet, you see.
And then who do you give the stolen fish to?
Oh, well, they're not stolen, they're borrowed.
All right. You throw them back when you're done?
No. I sell them to the local fishermen, to the local fish merchant.
Right.
Well, I must tell you a story about a pet salmon I had one time. There was a young lad fishing along the river on the bridge, and he hooked this little fish, 4 inches long, a small salmon. They call it a fry, a salmon fry. So I took the hook out of him and I brought him down to the river. I petted him and let him go. He came back several times, but he disappeared then for the winter. He went away and he came back the following year. No, 3 years after. And he was growing up about 5 or 6 pounds. So I was fishing along the bank beside me shack, and I seen the salmon under me. He didn't move away. So I took him in and I petted him, and I seen there was water running out of his eyes. He was cold. So I took him into the hut, put a scarf around his neck.
The fish?
Yeah, and gave him brandy for 9 days until the crisis was over.
Mm.
And I let him out, and he'd come back every year, regardless.
Do you have any other relationships with the fish?
No, only a mermaid.
Oh, yeah?
I was fishing on Berthra. That's the island over there. And I had the net out. We sat in the block. And the net sunk, you see, what I thought was all salmon. So I pulled it in. This is at night now. Mm-hmm. And there were 12 salmon and a mermaid in it. And there was a lump out of the mermaid's side where the seal had took a bite out of it.
Uh-huh.
So I took her into the hut, into the tent. And I poured the poachine on it, on the wound, until it healed up. She was here all the summer. She wouldn't go away until the weather got cold. Then she went back. I used to come over here for a drink with her. I get up on her back and she'd bring me over here. Swim straight over. I got off out there.
She brought you to the pub?
Just down to the shore.
On her back?
Yeah, no problem. It was good fun when I had her.
Are you putting me on?
I'm not putting you on, love.
You know, you seem like you might be the sanest person on this bus.
Oh.
See those people behind
Yeah.
me? They work for me. They're way, way down on the bottom of the totem pole. I asked them for one thing. I wanted a ballroom. They brought me here.
Why didn't you ask me? I know just the place.
What? I'm sorry.
I'm taking that.
He's been doing a little touch before. This costs £25. And that's a yard. You should be going underneath this.
That.
Just for the bullshit. How'd you get into his good looks? And that's the only thing he has down his trousers, make the most of it.
I don't believe you're a natural blonde, Lisa.
He's been down there before.
Excuse me, I'd like a bit of attention from you, actually.
James,
You're laughing at my outfit.
last time, Judy.
It's going to rain a wee bit below.
Any hunting?
Oh, Paul, they could just not be at every... Excuse me, I'm ready. You're supposed to be stunned into silence.
Who's been sick down your back?
High yield, low trust funds, timeshare eternity bonds, index linked to a gold-edged gilt complex. Yep, finance is a complicated animal, Mostyn.
Really? It's nothing like that at the Alliance in Leicester. Mm-hmm. No, they make investing simple.
Do they? Do they?
Yes. They pay a good rate of interest in all their accounts.
Uh-huh.
Your money's safe.
Really?
And with their Cash Plus account, you can pay your bills over the phone.
Do they really? What? You mean... Mostyn, what kind of a person do you think falls for a cheap gimmick like that?
Probably the sort of person who hasn't just glued all his fingers together.
You get a smarter investor at the Alliance in Leicester.
Now, the last time we were here, we had some great fish. Was it somewhere in town?
Up the hill. No, down.
Shall we put her to the boat? No, we ate on the boat. We ate on the boat.
We ate on the boat.
He's right. It was prime cod in wafer-like, my lightest of batter.
It was a crisp crunch crumb. His memory's in tatters. The fish bit's right, but it was crispy modern batter from the oven.
Oh, let's not argue, lad. Whichever, we love 'em. I only choose the best for the captain's table.
charisma from turtle wax keeps all inside and outside car trim in showroom condition.
New car, Jim?
Charisma for a new car look, inside and out.
Subject to actuarial valuation, of course.
Well, currently we're doing a great many potential examples.
Question of insurable interest.
What would the average man prefer? Excuse me. Is your priority term assurance protection, or are you looking to accrue a capital sum?
No, it's all service included. No, old chap. What he means is, are you making sufficient provision for your future fiscal security?
Okay.
Momento, please.
At the Halifax Building Society, we'll give you expert advice on insurance and help you plan for the future in a way you'll find easy to understand.
See. Any chance of you getting the Armagnacs?
Even if I do, senor, I completely covered.
Halifax Insurance and Pension Service. Our expertise is understandable. Ole for Halifax.
It's a very direct thing. I just get used to that. But the cut's okay?
Well, it leaves something to the imagination as well.
So cut and color.
Yes.
Cancel.
Badly.
Yeah. This is Veronica. She's my next guest. I could go for your color hair.
But yeah, natural highlights, grey.
Oh, yeah,
nice.
the grey. Doesn't show the age at all.
Yeah. Costs nothing.
Yes. Anyway, listen, you're from these boglands here?
Am, yes.
Are you proud to be a boglander?
To what?
A bogland. You know, is that something
Yeah, of course I am.
I mean, do you just proudly stand up and go, yes, I am from those bogs?
Yes, of course.
Really?
Why shouldn't I?
Well, it's just like saying, you know, I come from a lot of sand or, you know, the ashtray.
Of course I am. Yeah.
Did you met your husband in a ballroom like
I
this?
did, yes.
And
yes,
did he come up?
Well, I mean, there was nowhere else to meet husbands at that time.
Well,
Only
couldn't
in
somebody
ballrooms.
introduce, didn't you have blind dates?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. No. The ballrooms that time were, you know, the boys used to be all at one side and the girls were all at this side.
Yeah.
You know? And the fellas would stand the other side of the ballroom, looking over. And then when the music would start, you see, they'd make one drive over.
Like a stampede. A stampede of testosterone.
Yeah.
Did you get picked? Were you popular?
Oh, well, I knew him going to school. I knew my husband when we were at school.
So how old were you when you got married?
28.
Oh, you were old.
Yes, of course.
Spinster lad.
No, I wasn't old.
Well, I thought they got married really young here.
No, of course they don't.
Well, when did they have time to have the 25 children?
Yeah, well, there was no contraception in Ireland, Ruby, that time.
Yeah.
There was no contraception.
No,
and what could they do?
Well, they could stop. Did that ever occur to them?
I suppose it did, yeah. Yeah, but if I mean, the husbands that time, they were all in England.
Right.
Okay? They had to go to England. They
Right.
couldn't support the wives and children here. So, I mean, they were missing for 10 months out of the 12 months.
Right.
So, I mean, if your husband was missing for 10 months out of 12 months, would you make the best things when he came home?
Oh, so that's why they got it, because it was like bam, wham, bam.
Yes, yes.
And that's why they kept producing.
Yeah, well, they had to. Yeah.
Were you born poor? I mean,
Well,
poor in
yes,
bogland?
relatively poor, yes. Yes, there was 13 of us in family.
So another biggie.
Yeah.
And how did you know, how poor? I mean, you know.
Well, I don't mean poor. We were very rich in a lot of things, and a lot of things that mattered.
Yeah.
You know, love and care.
Yeah.
Our house was full of it, and I think that's very important. Don't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm
very.
dribbling with envy.
Yes,
I was an only
yes,
child.
Yes.
We had a lot of argument.
Yeah.
And what did you learn how to do?
Well, I mean, you learned how to housekeep. You learned how to cook.
These are things that fascinate me. I've never learned these things.
Do you know how to cook? Do you know how to start a needle?
No, not a clue. I hire people. My hands shake too much from the alcohol. But you learned how to be a wife.
Yes.
And then when you were, a newlywed, contraception came into being, or no, still not?
No, it wasn't still, no.
So how did we control ourselves?
We had good friends.
And they
used to
you
go to England, yes.
And they bring you in?
Yes.
It wasn't a sin or anything?
Well, depending on what way you looked at it.
Right.
Depending on what way you looked at it, yeah.
So you couldn't tell your neighbors or anything that you were on the pill?
Of course not. So you'd be excommunicated, not at all.
Really? But your husband knew, didn't he? Your husband would know?
Oh, yes, of course.
Right.
Yes.
And that sort of calmed it down?
Yes.
Didn't you ever have career ambitions?
Yeah, I did. But I mean, what good was that?
What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a nurse.
And you didn't have any?
No, I couldn't. Those things that came before my ambitions.
So you knew at a young age you would never be able to be?
Yes, I did.
Right.
Yes, I did. Yes. And I have no regrets.
You don't?
No regrets whatsoever.
And
career women, yeah, they have it all wrong. They have it all wrong.
They have it wrong?
They have, of course.
Why?
They have. They haven't it right at all.
Well,
They're
why?
up there in the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You know, they daren't move. Then when it gets too late, they want to have children, you know, when they get up into their 30s and 40s.
Right.
That's when they realise. They do then what they should have been doing when they're in their teens.
Yeah. No, but I mean, at least they have cash. I mean, I'm not...
What's cash?
No, I know.
Yes. What good is money to you?
So even if it was handed to you tomorrow on a platter?
Yeah.
Somebody said, Veronica, 10 grand.
No, thanks.
You wouldn't take
Not at all.
So do you have in your house, you know, where you live now, everybody's like you? I mean, you're really
I
happy?
should hope so. I should be very happy.
There's no manic depressives running
Not at
around?
all. Oh, indeed, no. We only hear about that on television from American places like that.
So you sit around and sing like Irish ditties?
Of course we don't. No, indeed not. No. Yeah.
But you know every day that you're really, you know, that you've got the best.
Of course. And I consider myself very lucky. Very lucky. Happy as Larry. Yeah.
I'm moving to these boglands. Thank you for being on the show.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you have any room in your house, like an extra room, bedroom?
Oh, a little one. Yes.
I'll take a little one. Yeah. I'll bring some kitty litter. I'll move in.
You'll be very welcome.
Oh, I'll be so happy. Having thousands of children. God. Excuse me, you're in my chair.
No, is that a fact?
Yeah. No, you're not sitting in my chair. No, that's okay.
Thanks very much.
It's perfectly fine.
It's grand, yeah.
No, you see, you can wear that stuff, and I don't say that to everybody.
That's okay. The colour suits me, I think.
This is Paraic.
Paraic Breathnach.
Breathnach. And what kind of a name is Paraic?
Well, it's a very common name, actually. Most people in Ireland are called Paraic. It's
What
the,
is-
the Gaelic for Patrick, which might explain it. Strangely enough, they call me Paraic Bug. Small Paraic.
You're the smaller one?
Well, because of age, you see, Paraic Bug. They say small Paraic.
Because I was frightened there for a minute that your father would show up.
Well, the bigger the Paraic, the bit bigger, actually. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's your father. No. What's the good of Gaelic, though? Do you still speak it now?
Oh, yeah. I speak it every day, yeah.
For what reason?
Well, why do you speak English every day? It's because the language you speak the best and you express yourself the best in.
What can you say in Gaelic that you can't say in English?
Well, you can describe the human condition in Gaelic a lot better than you can do it in English. But there's certain things you can't do in Gaelic.
Like, what can't you do?
We can't make love in Gaelic.
You can't?
No.
Why?
I think they've lost the use of the words. I don't think they're used anymore. I think that lovemaking now is according to TV or according to American culture.
Right.
If you want to woo a young lady, well, there's no point in speaking the poetry of the old Irish in it. You must speak the words of Dallas, really.
What, they haven't got a word for lie down?
They have, but they use it for dogs mostly.
Being from Ireland and stuff, do you have this idealized vision of love?
In Ireland,
or are you just?
No,
you know,
our love is more. Our love is a thing of poetry in Ireland. You know, in real terms, I don't think because the climate's so harsh here, the economics so harsh here, I don't think actual love exists in Ireland. Poetry has an awful lot to do with the boy-girl relationships in Ireland. You know,
so there's
boy-girl relationships in Ireland are very practical things. We need somebody to feed the hens. Go and get married, Paddy. You know,
right.
It's very practical.
You mean you'll just be blithering away and we won't actually populate the place? We'll be stuck with Gaelic.
Exactly.
Because they'll be trying to think what rhymes with what.
You certainly don't know me to feed the pigs.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Not if you spoke like that to me.
That's right.
Do you feel really male? You know what I mean? Like being, you know, sort of what you look like. I mean, does it feel like it inside?
Well, I don't know. I've never felt like a woman. I've never been a woman, so I hardly know what the difference is, really.
But macho, you know.
Well, macho is a Mediterranean concept, really.
But being, you know, what you are, you know, huge.
Right.
Do you walk in a pub and people want to kill you?
It has happened, yeah. But it's not a common thing. I think that public houses are very sociable places, really. That aggravation only comes into us later on in the evening. A wedding is the best place in Ireland for a fight, really.
Why?
Well, you get people together, families together, and they get a lot of drink on them, and they're very friendly. And then, at the end of the evening, something is remembered that happened 50 years ago about a calf that was stolen, or a sheep that died in somebody's care, and then there's aggravation.
Warfare.
Yeah, well, somebody has, you know, there's fists, shall we say. But it's very social stuff, really, you know, it's nothing. Just let's get rid of this frustration, you know, transfer into violence.
You remember that?
I remember that, yeah. I never particularly partook in it.
Let me see. there's a half a hand.
They're pen-pushing hands, you know.
Oh, really? You're an artiste?
Yeah, they're pen-pushing. They don't do any more breaking doors or cutting turf.
But have you civilized yourself?
As much as one from the west of Ireland can be civilized.
Meaning you use lose.
Only when in company.
All right. Well, how, you know, what's the definition of civilizing yourself?
Well,
just
where Ireland needs the most civilization, where one would think that civilization is necessary, is in the male's attitude towards the female. That's the major area in Ireland where civilization is needed. And I would think that my attitude towards women has become more politically aware than it used to be, and that I wouldn't treat women as badly as people of my contemporaries, shall we say.
What did they used to do to stir them up?
To women?
Yeah.
The Irish treat women very badly. Irish men treat women very badly.
What about, I mean, is it a primitive kind of thing that you still think she's got to, you know, go pound the, you know, the flour in the kitchen?
I think that in some cases, yeah, traditionally, yeah, that Irish women worked very, very hard.
Yeah.
A lot harder than Irish men did. They had to get up in the morning and milk cows and feed the kids.
And what were the men doing?
Men would be off fishing or on the bog cutting turf or whatever. They were working physically harder or whatever.
Right.
They would be earning the actual money. But the women would have to look after the domestic run of the house, which is feed pigs and milk cows and hens and
what a life.
And geese.
You're just making me lick my lips.
It wouldn't suit you at all, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Women used to be a very docile lot in this country, you know.
You mean they take everything?
Yeah, that's their duty. You know, they accept it. But the Catholic Church did a lot in making women subservient and do their duty. Like obedience was the first thing a woman learned according to the Catholic Church. obedience to our man, you know.
Are you considered sacrilegious? Do they consider you sacrilegious?
Oh, not at all. There's a lot of people in Ireland now getting vocal against the Catholic Church. It's not the great, although it wields incredible power in this country, and it's a very reactionary force in the country, and a force that stops progress. I think a lot of people are beginning to speak out against it. And
Did you talk like this when you were younger?
Yes, I did. I have always aired my views on the Catholic Church quite vocally.
And what happened to you?
Well, I've had some run-ins with certain priests and so on and so forth.
You have?
Yes.
Did you get flogged? Did they flog you?
Not at all, not at all.
Did they run you out of town?
Well, it was made political for me not to be seen with them, shall we say.
So you were actually had to leave where you came from?
Well, I didn't actually quite have to leave, but it's easier for society if you don't have the likes of me around.
So why do you stay here?
Why do I stay here?
Yeah.
The light, the air, the beauty, the friendliness of the people, the incredible life that people have. It's great, despite all the hardships of the west coast of Ireland. There's great fun and life and inspiration in it. And that's why I stay here.
Oh, well, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You can stand again.
Okay.
But not in front of me.
Our price shows its metal. First, there came soft metal. Now comes a totally new concept, precious metal. Bryan Adams, Robert Palmer, In Excess, then Jericho, John Farnham. Precious Metal, 18 original rock sounds, still available soft metal, now also on video. Get them at your local outlets.
Kevin, where exactly did you bury the car?
In the sand. I'm not helping much, am I, Dad?
No, but I know a man who can.
AA 5-star, an AA travel service. We're all you need to know.
Yes, it could well have sand in the engine, yeah.
If we were to suggest that the Rover 200 series improved your performance, or led to a quieter life, or even did wonders for your social life, you might be intrigued, but not entirely surprised. However, when we tell you the Rover 200 series comes to you for less money than a dozen sets of professional golf clubs, that you might find rather incredible. But from only £8,380, the Rover 200 series is rather an incredible motor car.
The best thing about jelly, soft crybaby boofles, is that it's so very, very stretchy, snapped baby bumper. Not to mention squashy, bounced baby brilliant. But the very best thing about jelly, gurgled baby Bonnie, is that it's so juicy. Bassett's Jelly Babies. They're in a wibbly-wobbly world of their own.
And who are you?
My name is Brendan Francis Liam Price Shiels. I'm known by most people as Brush.
Brush
Shiels, yeah.
Where did you get a name like Brush?
Well, when I was very young, and I used to come home late at night, my father used to sweep the floor with me.
You were a juvenile delinquent?
I tried to be, yeah.
And why do we have this on?
I look better with it on than I do with it off.
Yeah.
And then I'm studying to become a Buddhist monk. I'm working in the bank part-time.
So you're two-timing now?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Right, and did you used to come to these places?
I used to play in these places.
Right.
I'm around a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah, a long, long time.
And were they like, were they it, or was it sort of dying when you were already hitting it?
It was going very well. I was dying. The hall was going well. That's why I came there. But they were dying out, started dying out about 10 years ago, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, they were great nights, though. Great dances. You get about 500 people just all glued together doing waltzes around the floor. It was fantastic.
And now what does everybody do for fun? Like, all the middle-aged people? You know what I mean?
These
where do
ladies
they go?
here.
Well, where do
But these ladies are beautiful, and I'm hoping that one of them is going to ask me up to dance later on. Do you think there's any chance of that at all?
Every chance.
Would I make good company, or would you be afraid somebody and then is going to see you with me?
No,
Well, you can see that two of the ladies are looking the other way, and four are looking this way.
Not a real popular choice there, are you, Brad?
No. So I'd say 4 out of 6 is not bad.
No, you're doing really well.
Yeah,
I think the handbag likes you.
Oh, yeah. They asked the gentlemen up to dance and stay as far away as possible, stay as far away as possible from them while they dance with them.
Yeah.
Because the original choreography for all these dance halls was done by the parish priest. And the holiday was that you stayed as far away from the gentleman as possible, he stayed as far away from you.
So how did you dance? Sort of like touching pinkies or what? So how do we suddenly have families with 87, these huge families?
People didn't know what we're doing most of the time. Just that this feels good and kept doing it.
Right.
And then suddenly other
well, it
little
didn't
people
happen at the dance, so it must have happened somewhere.
No.
So what do they do then? I mean, what's the whole setup of entertainment? It seems sort of, like not a lot is going on to the outsider.
I mean, let's be honest, the families here probably have more children per head than anywhere else in the world. Like for a long time, people had 14, 15, 16, 21 kids. There's a lot going on here. But people used to dance like 7 nights a week. This was the greatest dancing country in the world. Yeah. 7 nights a week people would dance. And the dances had gone for 5 hours. Now, how they were able to do anything after that, I don't know. But obviously, with people with 21 kids, had no problem doing it.
Yeah.
And so the dancing has a lot to do with it. It keeps you fairly fit. Keeps you light.
And now what? Why is a young, whippersnap like you? What are you getting out of living here? Why are you living in Ireland? Most of them sort of go off west, my boy.
First of all, I was in England in 1969, and I was lucky enough to be in the English charts for 6 weeks, and I was lucky enough to tour America with people like Jethro Tull 10 years after the height of the hippie thing.
You were?
Yeah.
What were you in?
I was in a band called Skid Row and a lot more hair than I have now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That little Pope's hat.
It makes all the difference, So, I became a victim of my own intransigence and had to come back here. So when you come back and you're a fallen hero in Ireland, nobody
Why did you fall? Why were you were real successful, right?
Yeah.
And then you fell?
Well, our guitar player left and we could never replace him and get the chemistry going again.
Right. So you came back here and your country sort of turned their nose up?
Well, the people in Dublin did for 8 years. Like the first time I came back after being the biggest thing in Dublin, I'd done a gig under my own name and 16 people turned up.
Right. So you were dead meat?
Yeah, dead in the gutter.
What do you think keeps so people, the people staying here? When they see they might want some more action. What keeps them here?
Which, the younger people?
Yeah.
Well, the younger people are emigrating in the droves at the moment.
Yeah, I know, but the ones who stay. Is there something about roots? What's this thing?
Roots is, I mean, roots is a beautiful thing. If you know anything about herbs for healing, that is, you would know that the herbs that grow in your vicinity or in your field or around your farm are the best ones for healing you. So consequently, anybody knows anything knows that their roots are in the ground in every sense of the word, spiritually.
So what, you smell the earth and you're happy where you live?
I wouldn't have understood it years ago, but I understand it now. I understand the country now. Originally being a Dubliner, I didn't understand it, but I understand that every little house, every little cottage, every little thing has a smell, a particular smell of it, a particular feel of it. Mental, physical, emotionally, spiritually, they all have it. And this is their roots. Everybody comes, you see the guys coming back and the girls back at Christmas.
Yeah.
They've been away for a year. They let her rip.
Can't they just take, some of the stuff and...
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
So you feel okay now about being here?
I feel very comfortable in myself, really.
Yeah?
But the most important thing that I ever learned was not to hold grudges.
To what?
Not to hold grudges or resentment.
Right.
And not to be bitter. And the day I learned that, and I was able to do it successfully, my life changed.
Because you seem like underneath it, were you kind of like, there's a lot of aggro here.
Yeah, I would have killed somebody.
Well, you look like you were once, like you had that kind of I mean, they want to have a, you know, you have that face.
I still have that fairly aggressive sort of, I still am aggressive.
Yeah.
But I would be more controlled aggression. I have this thing, people tell you that before they really get to know themselves, they have a nervous breakdown. Before you can become a complete person, you have to have a nervous breakdown. Now, I never had that nervous breakdown, but what I did have was that my body gave up on me, physically. I didn't know what happened.
What, it just sort of
Well, it just certain things were working in the wrong places at the wrong time.
Right.
So I met this guy who he's a herbalist in Dunboyne, and he put my body back a piece at a time to where it should be. The fact that I was in 7 crashes had something to do with it.
Car crashes?
Yeah, I wasn't driving in any of them. I was sitting in the front seat with no safety belt and all those things.
You went through the windshield all the time?
Well, I still look better than Jimmy Savile. So he put my body back, and as he put my body back, I began to understand the way the body worked. I began to feel things coming out. I didn't understand the way my body or my muscles or anything worked, and as I began to understand the way the body worked, I began to understand the way my spirit worked. And I began to realise that I only ever felt real humility in the presence of real humility.
Are you spiritual? Are you rough? What are you?
I would be like any musician who gets to a certain age, like whether it's, I find that most of them get spiritual at a particular time, and as much as they would try to explain it as, the only way I could explain it is that everybody has a bottomless well of goodwill, but they suppress it with bitterness. So after a while, when things are going reasonably well for you, and you realise your health is more important than anything else, and you're making a reasonable level, it's very easy to become spiritual. It's not easy to become spiritual when you're living on the 7th floor of a block of flats and you're 14 kids. That's not that easy to become a mystic.
Yeah, you have
to have money.
You have to have money.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, you seem to have this sort of gift, that your mouth keeps moving no matter what. It's like blithering.
You should know all about that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's why Americans and Irish might be similar, because we're not actually listening. We're just moving our lips continuously. Do you think that this is, something...
As long as your brain is moving at the same time, that's not so bad.
Do you listen to yourself, or do you
No, I don't know I wouldn't know what I was going to say. I don't think when I'm talking, I just keep talking. And I think the Irish can do it very easily, though. I mean, we do it all the time. Like, what I'm doing now is exactly what we were talking about. I just keep talking. My brain is coming, my mouth is going. I keep thinking, I keep talking, I keep talking, I keep thinking.
Yeah, I know. And people are eventually lulled like a cattle, and just we're hypnotized. And think, the guy must be James Joyce.
Yeah. Well, it's part of our whole thing to keep talking, because if you keep talking, people might think that you know something.
Yeah.
And what we have really is that we are the land of saints and scholars. We have brilliant artists.
You did do.
No, we may go to the land of saints and scholars, to the land of cents and dollars, which is your area.
Yeah.
But we still have great artists. We still have some of the biggest rock bands in the world. We have some of the greatest painters. We have the greatest sportsmen. We have the 2 champion cyclists in the world. We have the couple of champion boxers, world champion boxers. So for such a small place, we've done incredibly well. Plus, we started in America, when you think about it.
Yeah, I know. I should actually thank you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I?
Well, you should, and I think England should thank us for, building the M4, the M2, the M3, and there was no accidents on the road when we were building them, So the Irish have, we've been all over the world.
We've done something.
We've done great things.
Yes, I know. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Slán not agus good mean market.
Yeah, gesundheit to you, too. Well, that's it. The end of the series. Time for me to hang up my sofa. God, I love this show. But first, I'm going to say bye-bye to some of the people who made it possible. My little team here, I won't mention their names, they know who they are. Well, maybe not, judging by some of the research they've done for me. Everybody, I'd like to give you a little something now to show my gratitude. Not so much a gift, but a symbol. You. And Steve, the bus driver. Coach. This is a man who never knew the meaning of the word break. Get out of here. Justin. Here you go, big fella. Get out of here. I'll miss you. And even more than him, I'll miss you. Yes, long after the noise of my own voice dies down in my head, I'll think of you. But most of all, I'll miss the money. See, week after week, I get this check, and it's a very beautiful thing for me. Like when the seed ignites with the egg, and lo, there is a babe. So my check is indeed blessed. I'm sorry, I have to go. Excuse me.
Oh, Ruby, as Did you good time at the ball tonight?
Yes, I'm just feeling a little bit fragile.
Well, did you hear this one about the pet salmon?
Yes, I've heard the pet salmon story. Would you just go back to your toadstool or under your little shamrock? I'd like to go home.
Oh, you should never say things like that, Ruby. You never know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
As I say, you never know.
Oh, Irish malarkey.
No, it's not.
It's malarkey. Always coming up and telling you about some sorry. It just always happens. Bet your boots. Always happens to me. Full of hot air. I don't even know what they're talking about half the time.
Next week, Big Ears makes way for Oprah, who'll be hosting a debate between the Ku Klux Klan and their opponents. That's at 10:30 next Friday. In a couple of minutes, they drive by night, a tale of two brothers trucking their way into trouble. And who better to do it than George Raft and Humphrey Bogart? In a world where truckers were a dime a dozen and there for the taking, nobody takes Joe and Paul Fabrini.
What can fill the Watford gap? What bites off a crocodile snap? What makes Venus shut her trap?
It's new Cadbury's Biscuit Boost.
Shortcake biscuit goes down well. The caramel and chocolate tastes real swell. Biscuit Boost, a great big bite. It tames a giant appetite. Give your snack life
Boost, a boost, Cadbury's Boost.
There's something unusual about a NatWest investment specialist. He'll never sell you a NatWest unit trust. He'll never sell you a NatWest pension. And he'll certainly never sell you NatWest life assurance. Because the NatWest Group like to do things differently, they've decided not to have their own unit trusts, pensions, or life assurance, preferring their investment specialists to be wholly independent. Free to judge over 2,000 products, each on its own merits, guiding you impartially to the one that suits you best. So, for purely independent financial planning, step into NatWest, and they'll call in one of their high flyers.
Nearly 200,000 workers are already making something of themselves with ET. Like thousands of others, your company can custom build its own workforce with ET and train the workers without jobs to do the jobs without workers. Phone 0800 24 6000.
and the subtle fragrance becomes unique to you.
And in here, a direct descendant of the original Branston, especially made for spreading.
Branston Sandwich Pickle from Cross and Blackwell.
Blend white wine and vodka with peach, apricot, and exotic fruit. And the drink you get is definitely taboo. But blend the same white wine and vodka with the delicious essence of citrus. And that's the incredibly refreshing experience of Mirage. Taboo and Mirage, because moods are never the same.
I'm signing my death warrant if I give you the name.
A dangerous trade.
My husband is innocent.
A lethal corruption.
Please, wake up.
Caroline has been taking heroin.
Traffic.
These are going to be bad times for all of us.
A major new drama series.
Don't treat me like an animal!
He's strong.
Traffic begins Thursday at 9 on Channel 4.
Now, traffic of a different kind, but just as deadly. From one of Fassbinder's favourite directors, Raoul Walsh, and with a blistering cast list, they drive by night.